if you were looking for a happy podcast, a podcast with bunny rabbits and flowers and rainbows and butterflies, a podcast with a happy ending, it is my regretful obligation to inform you that that is not this podcast. This is a podcast of listen, having not prepared that, having literally we said go and then I pulled that out of my ass, I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm also disappointed in myself that I didn't plan out a proper Lemony Snicket monologue, but
Listen, I'm going to say two things.
Okay.
One thing, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Off the top of your head, that was a really great introduction. Mine was not going to be nearly as appropriate. I was just going to start listing off random things from 2004, such as Mark Zuckerberg launches the Facebook, later renamed to Facebook. Spider-Man 2, The Incredibles, The Passion of the Christ was a thing. It's not anymore,
apparently.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan died.
Okay. That's too bad. Apparently, just doing a quick scan, seeing what else. A lot of, world fights and conflicts, so that's kind of depressing. I'm going to skip over those things.
It is what it is. That's.
Yeah. Nintendo DS was released in North America. I was just about to say that. I remember where I was when I heard the news.
Mm-hmm. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. The movie that I didn't think could make me cry, but made me cry.
I've never seen it. I was not into. Man. I wasn't that big into SpongeBob.
Neither was I. But the movie will make you cry.
Oh, Half-Life 2. I remember Half-Life 2 being just the cat's pajamas. I never actually finished it. I just remember the graphics being just renowned and everyone just losing their mind over it. And I remember playing a bit of it. But Half-Life 2.
Pete's like, this is so good. What's next?
I didn't actually own it. That's why I didn't finish it through. And Halo 2. Halo 2 was 2004.
Yeah,
apparently.
You know what? I've been an Xbox guy my entire console. I've never been a PlayStation person. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have been Xbox through and through. And I just have not, I've been in a couple of fun multiplayer Halo. We're just kind of effing around, but it never
turned your crank.
But I think the most important thing that happened in 2004 was on September 20th, Green Day released their album American Idiot.
Right.
20 years ago.
That's depressing.
Yeah, not relevant for any reason. Hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movement Podcast, the show where I am Peter and my ever-aging co-host is Tracy.
As opposed to the other show where we swap.
We are here today to chat some 2004, series of unfortunate events.
Back up. Are you sick?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess the answer is I don't know isn't a real answer. So
are you under the weather?
I honestly
feeling.
I'm
under
at
the
a loss
weather?
of words. I've had this weird tickle in my throat for a couple of weeks, and it started flaring up today. Where just once a day I'll just start hacking, and then that's it.
Right.
It's a 10-second hack, and then I'm good for the day.
Okay.
And then for today, randomly, it's just been at inconveniently timed moments when I'm in a public setting, and someone actually leaned forward and they were like, "Do you need a cup of water?" And I'm like, "No, I just need to go outside and hack up a lung for a minute
and be gross." Yeah. Well, I was just wondering because you kind of it sounded like there was a squeak in your voice.
It sounds a bit raspier, in the last 10 minutes,
and maybe a little nasally, but not
that too.
Whatever, but just a little, that kind of when someone's got some sinuses stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then you coughed.
Right.
And then I have it on good authority that you weren't at work today. So I didn't know if, if you were like, well, I got the malaria, but the podcast comes first.
Oh, yes. That is not the case, but
we've gone from the rumors that you sit there and do massive bong rips during the podcast to Pete has malaria.
That's, for the record, not true.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Yeah.
But Brady, why are we reviewing this random movie from 2004?
Cause like, I don't know how to read and you don't know how to read, but people say books are important and stuff. And so we're like, well, we did a vote. We did a vote where we did films based on books. Yeah. And it's interesting. I assume we're about to go through the different vote options as we tend to do.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's interesting. It was an interesting group of options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it really was.
Twilight. So the first one up was Twilight. And Twilight, everybody knows, not everybody. It's pretty common knowledge that Twilight is based on a book series.
Yeah.
Right? That there are Twilight books. And then our winner, I'm going to do this kind of out of order just because of the point I'm trying to make.
Sure.
Series of Unfortunate Events, I think maybe fewer people know that it's based on books, but I still think most people know that the Series of Unfortunate Events adaptations that we've gotten are adaptations of a book series.
Mm-hmm. Just for the record, I'm not a well-read person. So this is actually opposite to most examples. This is the one series that I was more familiar with the books.
Oh, you've read the books.
And then in my life, then the film came out, and then sometime later the TV series came out. So
are they? So there's a question then, because this came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, again.
Which means,
my gosh.
Which means you were knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah.
And so how because there's holy shit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's including some others.
The Bad Beginning.
Look. Yeah.
The Reptile Room.
Yep.
The Wide Window.
Okay.
The Miserable Mill.
Yep.
The Austeri Academy. The Eratz Elevator came out in 2001, right? So far we're 99, 99, 2000, 2000, 2000. 2001 was the elevator one.
Oh, dang.
2001 was the Vile Village.
I'm going to stop you and let you finish, but you're right. These are all legit. You're right. Keep going.
Yeah. In 2001. So 2 years in a row, we dropped 3 books each from this series. The Hostile Hospital, the Carnivorous Carnival, the Slippery Slope, the Grim Grotto, the Penultimate Peril, Pete, and the End. And so what I'm wondering is, you said, you were familiar with them and then the movie came out. Well, at least 2, maybe 3 of these are post-movie release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Were there books in this series you didn't know existed?
Well, I mean, I don't exactly remember when. So just looking at it, the last 3 books were released in 2004 and after. So at the time, I would have just been as far as I was in probably the books that were released. I was probably on book number 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe book 8 or book 9.
Okay.
When the movie came out, and that's what I would have known.
Now, are these books so? If you were young and reading these books, are they how big are these books? Are they kind of dumbed down? Like, are they clearly geared towards children, or are they more like teen novels, or are they like?
Yeah. Good question. So they're definitely not like they're not Lord of the Rings. They're not like 1,000 pages each. And there's not, I know with the Harry Potter novels, there were, I forget which one, but there was a couple that were like absolute bonkers, like, here's 1,000 pages.
Some of them are pretty thick. I think Order of the Phoenix, how many pages?
And I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying of note, like, there were some in that series that were thick. So, Series of Unfortunate Events.
Order of the Phoenix is 896 pages.
There you go.
Like, that's a beast.
That is a beast. At any age, it's a beast. Series of Unfortunate Events, I would say, are definitely garnered to children. The writing style, I remember it being like an easier read. I don't know if it's dumbed down, but it's just like easy and not convoluted. The books, there's some thicker ones, but they're nowhere near like the Harry Potter thickness. I think the volume comes more in just the number. Like you said, it's 13.
Right.
And I never actually finished the series as a child. I read like 8 or 9 or however many were released, and then I just kind of dropped it. And then about 10 years later, as like a teenager, like a late teenager, maybe even early 20s, I eventually just kind of got back on the train, and I reread them all again. And at that age, even though they were more garnered to children, I still enjoyed them and found some fulfillment in finishing the series. And yeah, I think they held up from what I remember.
Okay.
But yeah, the point being, like you said, some people might not be as familiar that they're based on a book series. And in this one circumstance, I was the opposite. I did know that.
Oh, he's a young guy. So Lemony Snicket is the pen name of Daniel Handler. And he's only 54.
Oh, wow. So at the time...
So he was in his 30s writing these, late 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Back on track, though.
Yeah.
So that one. We also had One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I don't know that near as many people know is a book.
I'll put my hand up right now. I did not.
And then one that I had no clue, and I would assume also a lot of people have no clue, is The Devil Wears Prada. Everybody knows of the movie. I'm not sure everyone knows that this is a book. I didn't know it was a book.
Yeah, I have to be honest, it was my suggestion. I'm not even sure I was familiar with that until like I was looking up films based on books, and I was like, Devil Wears Prada definitely has like a pop culture significance, right. And then it was just kind of a coincidence, so I was like, okay, I'll put it forward. But if you had canvassed me a couple weeks ago, I don't know if I would have known it was based on a book.
It seemed like a really interesting. It was an interesting selection of. I think the viewer or the listener who is voting maybe learned some things, right? Because you could say, hey, we're doing movies based on books, and then maybe some of your real obvious ones that you start going to is stuff like Pride and Prejudice, and
sure. Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Little Women, right? Like stuff like that.
The classics.
Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front and stuff like that. Yeah. But we didn't. Yeah. Some of them are very obvious, and some of them aren't. And
I mean, we've reviewed it, but The Great Gatsby or whatever have you.
The Great Gatsby, Hunger Games, Princess Bride, like some of those, Schindler's List, right? And we didn't entirely. And so I don't know what my point is. I don't have one.
That's all right.
It was interesting to me. I'm also going through a list right now, and I'm like, that was a book, and that was a book.
Lord of the Rings was a book.
Was a book? But a lot of these I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. Sometimes it checks out. But yeah, in this case, the Series of Unfortunate Events was the clear winner. Twilight was second, and then Flew and Devil Wears Prada were in third and fourth place. And I'm happy, very happy the way this worked out, because obviously I let the cat out of the bag. I was familiar with this book series, so I'm very happy to chew out this rendition and talk about it with you. But there is some part of me that's a little bit sad that we're not reviewing Twilight, just because I've never seen these films, and so I'm interested to see if they hold up or if they are just as bad as everyone says, and I would have been interested to weigh in.
All right. Should we jump in and do some initial impressions?
Sure. I've got a little bit of trivia just to briefly go over.
Okay.
And so this is either you're going to be, you know it or you don't. There's going to be no choices, and you just pop up and you either know it or you don't. But there were a couple notable names and faces.
Hang on.
Yeah. Aye.
I can't. You weren't going to?
No. I was looking out for you on the editing table. I was trying to help you out.
Ah, whatever. To hell with it. with the number. Listen, with the number of like slowly caressing of the microphone and F-bombs that Carl does in every episode. At this point, I just know that sitting down to edit a 45-minute episode is about 4 or 5 hours of my life. It is what it is.
Listen, I will say, I hear you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's okay. We still like having Carl on the podcast.
We absolutely do. Oh. Okay.
Okay, hit me with trivia.
Yeah. Well, I'll just ignore that. Anyway. There were a couple uncredited cameo appearances in this film. So there were two, I would consider them pretty famous people that were in this film as uncredited cameos. Can you list and name either of them?
Uncredited. I mean, there's so many friggin'... It's not a question of like who famous shows up. It's a question of like who would be considered uncredited. I mean, it has to be someone with no speaking lines. I can think of cameo. So cameo is like fast, right? Like, yes, typically. So I mean, I can think of 3.
Sure. Who you got? But
I don't know that these.
Just
well, and then there's that one. There's 4. Now I'm up to 4.
Just spit them out. Let's find out.
Now I'm up to 5 in my head.
Just list.
Okay, well, Craig Ferguson's in this.
Craig Ferguson.
Okay, so that's clearly not it.
Yeah. Should I know who that? Like, I'm seeing a picture of him.
Scottish comedian, late night talk show host.
Oh, okay.
Voiced Owl in the newer Winnie the Pooh movie they did. Nope, so not him?
Yeah, not him. I'm not too familiar with him.
Okay, the next one that I would put forth would be, and this one I'm also iffy on, because this could be a credited role.
Sure.
But Jennifer Coolidge is in this, in an almost unrecognizable...
You know, I that's not one of the two, but I'll give that to you, because there were two women in Olaf's crew, and in the Fraser connection, Jennifer Coolidge was one of them. So yeah, that's one, and also Jane Addams was the other woman. So they were the two women with the two white-faced women, and they've both played significant or cameo roles in Frasier, so I thought that was coincidental. So I'll give you Jennifer Coolidge. That's not one that I was intending, but she's still a recognizable face.
Next up, I would go with Jane Lynch.
Who's that?
Jane Lynch? Yeah. Look her up. She's like a tall, funny lesbian actress. She did Glee. She appears in she in 40-Year-Old Virgin. She was in a bunch of episodes of like 2.5 Men.
And what did she do in this?
She was a realtor. It was like she breathed, like it's like a cutaway gag.
Heavens.
Like a half-second gag. Yeah,
okay. Again, I did not recognize her, so I'll give you a kudos. That counts.
Okay.
Who else you got?
I mean, Helena Bonham Carter's in this, but like no speaking line.
Okay, I wouldn't have recognized that. So that is one. I would not have recognized that if I hadn't read the cameo, because she is Beatrix Baudelaire.
Yeah.
And like I'm talking like a faint shadow in the background of a scene or two. Like it's very brief.
Yes. That was just something I knew prior.
Oh, okay. Like talk about a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah. See now
and before you go on, I do think it's interesting that what I had read about the making of this film was some of their intentions were going, okay, we've got a children's book series. Let's make this the next Harry Potter, in that let's make a series of films that are quite financially lucrative.
It was supposed to be a whole thing.
Yeah. And I just think it's interesting that comparison was made, and we've got so many, or at least some connections to the Harry Potter wizarding world in the film sense. You know, you've got Helena Bonham Carter, you've got Mr. Poe in this film, who's plays Mouseface or whatever his face is from Harry Potter. You've got Jude Law from the Fantastic Beasts. So there's some carryover, and I just find that coincidental.
So my next one is one that to me is the definition of a cameo, because they're there and they don't make a big deal out of them, but he's got a couple of speaking lines, and so I wonder if he has too much in this film to quantify as uncredited.
I've got a feeling you've got it, but who do you got?
So the other one, I would go with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's the one.
With a great nod to the movie Hook.
Oh, okay. How do you mean?
So when he first arrives at the play, the guy that goes to take the cape that Dustin Hoffman's wearing is the guy that only has hooks for hands. And he goes, "Can I take your cape, sir?" And Dustin Hoffman looks at him and says, like, "Don't try to flatter me," or, like whatever it is. It's totally a nod to the fact that Dustin Hoffman played Hook.
Oh, that's interesting. That kind of slipped me, and that's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did get them, and you got a couple bonus ones. So I'm impressed with you.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I feel great.
Just of note, just for some interesting things, it was the first Nickelodeon movie to win an Academy Award. So I just find it interesting that this film is by definition an Academy Award winner for Best Makeup and Hairstyle, and also received some nominations for Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, and Best Original Score.
Wow.
And at one point, to how serious, I'm not sure, but Tim Burton, to a degree, was attached to direct at some point. Pardon me. And you would have to assume Johnny Depp would have been involved in some capacity.
Yeah.
You'd have to assume, really.
Yeah.
I'd assume as Olaf, but I don't know.
Yeah, or Lemony Snicket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could work.
Do you had another trivia or no?
No, that is it. I am ready to impressionalize.
Okay, let's do initial impressions. My perception of this film, and I don't know if this is accurate, but it's kind of what I've always understood, is that to those who have read the books and are familiar with the books, right? Like fans of Series of Unfortunate Events, that this movie is a big departure. And that it wasn't what a lot of fans were hoping for. That's and again, that could be wildly wrong, but that's always kind of been my understanding, is that the fans, the true fans, the snickets, if you will, don't love this movie. Now, having said that, I've never read the books. I've seen this movie several times, right? Like I saw it probably back not long after it first came out and several times over the years since. I have always thought this movie's delightful. Like just fun and funny, and we'll get into that largely due to some of the cast members. And just an entertaining time, right? Just like a fun, mysterious, entertaining time. I don't think this movie is without fault. Even from someone who hasn't read the books, even someone who doesn't know the source material, there are some things that I can tell this didn't do a good job of adapting from the book, even though I haven't read the book. And so for that, there are things with which I fault it. But all in all, this is a really fun, enjoyable movie.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
My initial impression. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
No, I just said, what say you?
Oh,
What
say you?
What say you, scoundrel, street rat?
Yes, street rat. Yeah, I think this is the opposite for me in that. No, sorry. Let me finish. I'm in the same boat as you.
Oh, okay.
This is the opposite to me in most books or most films based on books, where even Lord of the Rings, which I hold dear,
Right.
and I have read the books, I watched the films and went, ooh, and a light bulb went off, and then I checked out the books.
Right.
This was one of the few series where I actually was a fan of the books and then was exposed to this movie.
Right.
So, that being said, is this movie a bit tacky? Maybe. But I do think it hits the nail on the head in a lot of good ways. And when I was watching it, I was trying to discern if I had a bit of disdain for it. And I think maybe I do. And I think it mainly comes from the fact that I know that it just feels so incomplete because it really only covers the first 3 books, and then it never proceeded to finish, like have sequels and continue.
Right.
So I have to take that aside because we're not here to talk about what could have been. I'm here to talk about this film on its own. So for me, I think in a lot of ways this movie really holds up compared to some, children book adaptations from movies in the 2000s. So, in the same light as Harry Potter, I'm not trying to start wars and say this is as good as Harry Potter. I'm not saying that, but it holds a glass to Harry Potter, and it's not out of left field to say it's in the same ballpark. And I think compared to, like, say, the Narnia movies from the 2000s, that I haven't watched them in 20 years, but I think if I went back, I think I'd be disappointed. This movie holds its own. So, I think it's really biggest fault for me is just that it just feels incomplete. And at the end, I'm feeling a bit of a sour taste knowing that, hey, there's more to the story and we're not here to tell it. And so why there's no sequel, it sounded like, one of those situations where they waited too long and the children just got older, amongst other things. That's
kind of what I was reading, that there was delays and there was issues with this and that there was pushback from that. And then by the time it was like, okay, let's do this, it's like, well, the kids are like 4 years older now, 5 years older.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense it doesn't make sense.
And the only thing, I read some things that they considered doing maybe different styles for each sequel, like a stop motion or like a animated, just to get around the whole children aging thing. But
yeah, that'd be
to
weird.
me, that would have been a bit hokey. So
yeah.
Of note, I do find it interesting that there was an original producer who was eventually moved on and not involved with this film completely, but he did have a fundamental part in getting it going. And then he also coincidentally was involved with the television series in 2017. So,
right.
Of note, I am just as if there's listeners out there who have seen the TV show, let us know. I'm curious if it holds up as much as the film or more. But I do wonder if there's any faults to this movie. If it's maybe just that it was a bit ahead of its time and a book series or a movie that is based on 13 books maybe is set to fail. Like maybe that's just more prime for having a TV show. And so maybe this wasn't the proper medium for that. But
yeah, I mean, Harry Potter is based off 7 books. Right? And I know
true.
that's only a little more than half. But or a little over, more than half. Yeah. And but I don't know. You know? Like I don't know.
No, that's a valid point. Like books have been made to films before, and it's not always a one-to-one.
But the idea behind the Harry Potter series is that it takes place over 7 years. Right? And so you don't have the same aging cast issue. You kind of need them to age.
Yeah.
Right? That's how the story plays out.
Right.
And so it lends itself to that. I will say, Brianne and I have jumped on the bandwagon. So we watched this movie 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And then last night we watched the first episode of the Netflix series.
Oh.
Because we're like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's see it done from a different take. And you know, there are upsides. There are good things and there are bad things. The bad thing is that, you know, and I mean, we're not here to talk about the show, so
yeah.
I'm not going to give a full review. And we're also only 1 episode in, so it's, you know, I don't know how valid of a review I could really give.
Sure.
What I will say is Neil Patrick Harris is delightful all the time, right? And all the time he is delightful. And he, on paper and even on screen, you know, he's a great choice for Count Olaf. But when the night before you watch Jim Carrey do it,
yeah.
and so you're sort of hit with this direct comparison, unavoidable direct comparison. You know, a lot of the time you just kind of sit there wishing it was Jim Carrey again. Right? Like,
so we'll get into our usual antics, but let's get into this question now, because of note, I did in 2017 watch maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes, but then I just dropped it and I don't remember much about it, so I can't comment. But that is interesting that you've started that, and that is interesting, your comment. So one of the things I came across from the time, or at least some of the thoughts at the time, were some people, including apparently the producer who then moved on, one of his concerns and one of some people's concerns were that Jim Carrey was overshadowing the film too much. They thought that the way his persona was taking over the character, that he was just taking up too much oxygen in the room of the story itself, but also overshadowing the children. And to me, I would not agree with that. I think he just plays it perfectly. I just can't believe how I've just kind of skimmed over this in the recent years, but this is truly prime Jim Carrey. You know, not his best film. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying this still falls into the time period where he was in his magical period where he was just electric, and this is no different. And I think he was just excellent in this, and I wouldn't have wanted him to turn it up or turn it down in any way. And I don't have a concern with him taking up too much oxygen in this capacity. But what do you think about this? Do you think that concern was real? Do you think it could have been a concern? And do you think it was a concern the way he handled Count Olaf?
I mean, I think my respectful response to anyone who would complain that that Jim Carrey's role in this film was too, or that his performance was too big, right? That he was too big in his I don't know how else to say it, but you know, to your point, anyone who would be making that claim, my respectful response would be, I go to hell. No, it's here's the thing. You don't, from everything I was reading, this was Jim Carrey took this on, realizing or thinking or believing that this would be a good something that he could really dive into and sink his teeth into and be the leading man for, right? And is the story about Count Olaf? Well, no, I guess probably not. It's about the kids.
Yeah.
But also, it's an adaptation, and so sometimes you shift the focus of like, oh, well, we're going to tell the story a little bit more from this perspective. And I'm not saying that's what they were doing, but also in 2004, you don't cast Jim Carrey in something so that he can be a silent background supporting, like the overbearing, over the top, high energy, I'm sorry, I don't speak monkey. Like, that's exactly what you're after when you make that casting. The size of his portrayal of this character was 100% deliberate. Not only on Jim Carrey's side, but on the side of the director, Brad Silberling, right? 100% intentional.
Sure.
There's no way it wasn't.
And
right?
I don't think that's a mistake either, in that I don't think they needed to choose someone else as a result of it. Because you're right, you're not backing Jim Carrey into this role and getting anything differently.
No.
And I think that's the right choice. And I was just surprised that there was so much quote unquote backlash around it at the time.
They were like, we have an over the top character.
Yeah.
Who is the most over the top actor that we can take and stick into this role?
It just seems perfect. Like, I don't know what else you'd want.
No. So I don't know. People are,
people will complain. Yeah.
Like, I just what a stupid, no offense, but
no, I didn't say it.
Dumbasses. So should we talk about the other cast?
We really should, because there's at least a couple.
There's several worth mentioning. Now, we can't. I mean, you've got Emily Browning, and Emily Browning's gone on to do some things. I'm not super invested in talking about the actors that play the kids, because in this film they're unknowns.
Yes, yeah.
And since this film, they're still relative. Like, they've done stuff, but they're not
household.
They're not household names.
Yeah.
Jude Law plays Lemony Snicket. Now, we don't see his face much. We see like a shadowy silhouette of his face.
Yeah.
But just like a great voice for narration.
There's a lot of things this movie does well, and we'll go through them as they come up, and that's one of them. The letter narration works for me, and who they chose with Jude Law, and the silhouettes and kind of the visuals of him doing what he was doing. Jude Law completely worked for me. I think it was a perfect choice.
Yeah, soft spoken, and like has a way of. Whereas Patrick Warburton does it plays Lemony Snicket in the new one.
Yeah.
And it's just a different performance.
Yeah.
It's a different his is a little bit more played for dry humor.
Yeah.
Like super dry humor. Whereas Jude Law's was more, they were going for a juxtaposition, right? Yeah. They were going for a calming, reassuring, soft-spoken, just like warm voice that is telling you the most horrible shit you could hear, right? Yeah. And it works. It's got this fun dynamic to it as a result.
And just of note, it's just interesting that you've got prime Jude Law and prime Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah,
this
Jude Law is like top of his game at this point.
Yeah, like, and nothing against him now, but like it's like there was that period where Jude Law was just like in every big thing back then. Like he was the Cat's pajamas. Just women were like jumping at him just if they could. He was just the bee's knees.
Well, yeah, and I mean, at this point, he was still another 5 years out from tainting his name with those Sherlock Holmes films. Like,
Yeah.
This is, or that horrible The Holiday. Like, this is just a time where he's on top. And yeah, super high in demand. Yeah. Timothy Spall plays Mr. Poe.
Yeah. Another Harry Potter connection.
Harry Potter, Sweeney Todd. He did all sorts of, for years, if you were looking like, and this is not to sound crass, this was the typecast, and he knew it was the typecast. If you were looking for a fat, creepy guy
who looked like a mouse, truly,
it was Timothy Spall. Like, that's who you were getting. It's crazy to look up pictures of Timothy Spall now. Like, he's probably dropped 100 pounds. I don't know if that's something you were aware of. Hello?
I realized I was still on mute from one of my coughing hacking sessions.
Jeez.
My apologies. I was affirming that, yes, he looks quite different. His weight is clearly down. And that's my bad. My apologies.
But yeah, so he plays a fat, creepy guy in a lot of things, but also you can look him up, and he's like, in his more serious roles, he's quite a thespian. Like, he's a serious, like, yeah, he's a serious actor, and plays some really spectacular roles in some things.
Yeah.
We have Catherine O'Hara playing Justice Strauss.
Again, just iconic. Another iconic actor here.
Yeah. And again, it's interesting. I would say maybe not at the top of her game right now. And not to say, like, she's not cranking out good performances, just not in a lot of stuff, right? Not as big of a name, big in the 90s with Home Alone, and late 80s with Beetlejuice, and then obviously bigger more recently with stuff like Schitt's Creek.
Right.
But yeah, like early 2000s, I don't know if there was as much, Catherine O'Hara wasn't on as many people's tongues at the time.
Sure.
Billy Connolly plays Uncle Monty.
I'm looking him up because I recognize his face and I know he's famous. There's not a ton that I align with that I've seen with him.
Yeah, the face and the voice. So, I mean, he's a stand-up comedian and has traveled doing the stand-up comedian circuit over the years. Perhaps, I'm trying to think, what's something... He played Dane, the goat-riding cousin of Thorin that shows up to help aid the dwarves in the Battle of the Five Armies in The Hobbit.
I do see that, and I do see he's in The Last Samurai, which I've watched somewhat recently.
Yeah. But just has one of those great, Scottish, like Glasgow accents that is fun in film.
Still a noteworthy face, and still really played his part well.
Yeah.
Although brief, and another critique that people have is that the role he played was cut down in its significance just because you're jamming 3 books into
time
one.
Constraints.
Yeah, it's like not even a 90-minute film, truly. So, he was there briefly. It would have been great to see him more, but what he was there, he did well.
Yeah. We have Meryl Streep as Aunt Josephine. Now, and the other thing I'll say about Uncle Monty and Billy Connolly's performance, just in contrast to Meryl Streep as Aunt Josephine, because we really only see them in the possession of 3 guardians in this film: Count Olaf, Uncle Monty, and Aunt Josephine. Aunt Josephine's not a megalomaniac. but she's still a horrible, like, you wouldn't, like, nobody wants to live with Aunt Josephine. Like, it just, I don't know. She's not an appealing, it's sort of the transpiring of the film is horrible guardian, wonderful guardian, who seems amazing, and what a happy life, and he's heartwarming, and he's wise, and we're going to go hang out in Peru, and all of the, maybe a little ignorant, right? Maybe a little aloof when it comes to obvious poor, but, and then they go from that to like a horrible Aunt Josephine. Horrible for different reasons in Count Olaf, but like Aunt Josephine's a friggin', she's a basket case. She's a total mess.
Something I came across when I was listening to a review, and it was a review that also blended into, like, it was about the film, but also blended into the series and the books themselves. And I don't know what the significance and takeaway from this, but I thought this was an interesting perspective that I had never really connected the dots. So the underlying books, obviously, as you can tell from this film, are more segmental, obviously, because each book is its own individual story, as with this movie is combining 3 books. But the premise is that in each individual story, the children have some event where there's a problem. They'll typically try and solve it, and they may or may not achieve it, but whether they do or they don't, it usually comes at some significant cost where they lose someone or something of emotional significance to them, so that whenever they get a victory, you don't really get to bask in it a whole lot. And the other common theme that is going through as well in this series that I never really connected that dot. Again, it's probably because I was a child when I read the books, and now as a grown man, I'm hearing this, and it makes sense. There's this theme in the books and in this film that most of the adults are so there's the flawed ones like Count Olaf that just you don't need to make a list too long before you realize he's flawed. But even the good adults, the ones that you'd consider good, the Catherine O'Hara's, the Justice Strauss, the Billy Connolly, Uncle Monty, all these characters that are adults that should be trusted by the children have this flaw that they even if they're good or well-meaning, they don't actually listen to the children or advocate for the children in certain ways that they really should be. And it's just this weird message that adults aren't perfect. Adults aren't the savior that sometimes children can view them to be. And it's a flawed, sad message that's accurate because no adult is perfect. No adult, we're all good. We're all bad. We all do good things. We all do bad things. And I think it's just this kind of like coming of age message, or I'm not sure what the scaling or the significance of this is, but just there is no perfect altruistic adult from the lens of these children. They all have their flaw, and they're all eerily, like, there's some flaw that comes back to haunt them. In the case of Uncle Monty, because he was such a buffoon and didn't listen, it led to his demise. Or Poe doesn't actually act on anything the children say, so repeatedly it comes. There's problems that come, and same with Catherine or Justice Strauss nearly marries Violet Baudelaire to Count Olaf without having the foresight or the awareness of what she's doing. So, just this theme of the adults in this book and what it says about adults in general. Just something that was new to me.
Yeah. I mean,
to what point? I'm not really sure what the significance is and what the takeaway is, but it's just this theme.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of information, and I don't. Again, I haven't read the books, so I got to take your word for it.
Yeah.
But I can see, like. Yeah, that seems. I mean, the title is a series of unfortunate events, right? Yeah. There's no wins. There's no. Every win is not quite a win. Now, I have a question for you because you, like, again, you know the book. Mm-hmm. To me, I mean, it's weird because it's, as we know, they intended to keep going. They intended to keep making movies and
Right. Yep.
And so, but there's something that happens in this movie that to me feels like, well, we did the first 3 books and then we jumped to the end. But clearly that wasn't the case because they intended to keep going.
Right.
Even though this, in many ways, to me, there are faults and there are things that are standing out to me. And I almost take back like what you said during your initial impression about it feeling incomplete. Almost makes me backpedal a little bit on me saying that I have faults with the adaptation, because I think the issues that I have or the faults that are there are probably things that were going to be ironed out and fleshed out in further sequels. Right. And so it's just the fact that we didn't get them that then it starts feeling hollow to me. But the wedding, is that like end of the 3rd book that happens?
So the first film kind of takes these liberties. It's a little weird, but the wedding actually is in the 1st book.
Oh.
Yeah. So before Count Olaf, that's kind of the pinnacle of Count Olaf's menacing, where the wedding, that kind of it breaks down, everything kind of breaks down, and then they move to Uncle Monty's after the wedding.
Interesting. Okay, because to me, it just like it felt like a, despite there being some hollowness from the fact that it was supposed to be a continuation that there wasn't. The wedding kind of has like it kind of puts a pin in it, right? And then Olaf gets caught for being a scoundrel, and then, he's like sentenced to do really horrible things and probably die, right? Like he gets hit by the train, right? Like it is like he's probably killed. And so, so that was just interesting to me. I'm like, this just kind of feels like a real, like, just sort of puts a button on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It plays out a little bit differently, yeah.
But yeah, Meryl Streep's in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's great. I mean, it's Meryl freaking Streep, right? Like, she was in that horrible Into the Woods movie, but like, I don't know if she's horrible in it. I don't think she is, right? So it's just kind of one of those like, yeah, this is Meryl Streep. That's just fantastic.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to comment on his acting chops just because, I mean, that's not his bread and butter in this, but Cedric the Entertainer is in this.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Cedric the Entertainer is in every film that's ever been made. You just don't realize it.
Whether that's good or not is a different thing, I guess.
So there's that. Yeah. Okay. So, my positives, I mean, I think I've mostly already covered my positives, right? And Jim Carrey's hilarious. I guess we can talk, I could speak to, in the category of positives, I could speak a little bit to the set pieces, right? Like, I think...
Yes.
Aunt Josephine's house is something to marvel at. Like it's a aesthetically titillating image. Olaf's house, like the kitchen and all that stuff, the reptile room, like everything in the film looks great, right? It's very stylistic, but it all it sells you on the idea that you're in this world, and it's the world we know, but it's not, right? Like it's the cars are a little like, what's the style where it's like super futuristic but to the backdrop of the 50s, right? Like it's sort of like that atomic age futuristic, do you know what I mean, where it's like it's it's like a 50s fridge, but it has features that ours don't today type of thing. It's like the Fallout.
Yeah, I don't know what the
franchise kind
term
of
is,
feeling.
but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
these 50s style cars, but they've got an automatic lock, and they refer to fax machines, and I do think it's a unique twist. Like, at first I was wondering if it was this tackiness, just because I would have almost preferred a set time. Just pick it in the 50s, pick it in the 70s, pick a time. But I think it actually works. It gives it a bit of a timeless vibe, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons this movie kind of held up. When I watched Lord of the Rings 20 years later,
Yeah.
aside from the fact that it's made well and that's why it's timeless, it really doesn't date itself like, say, The Devil Wears Prada or, some movie that's set in modern day at that time. It's timeless. So I think the timeless aspect helps this movie's aging. And I'll jump on your back because I think I also agree exactly with what you're talking about. I love the cinematography and the set design and the world building in this. When we went into the town at Lake Lacrimose, like, you just feel like you're there. You feel like you're closing in on these cobblestone streets. I love the set design. It feels like almost like a theater style where, when they're in the ashes of their old home, like, it's not, yes, it's CGI when there's the transition from their daydream to the actual burning house, but like the actual house itself, when it was the ashes, like, you can tell it's a real set. I loved the cut scenes to Klaus's books when he's about to convey some knowledge that he has. These have the books sliding out on the relevant subject. All these like physical set design decisions and the time period decisions. I really enjoyed. So I think you and I are on the same page with that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you go, well, when is this set? And it's like, well, you can't. There isn't really an answer to that.
No.
Right? So those are my positive things. I'm going to say my negative thing because it's really only one, and then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
My negative thing, and again, I thought this was a poor adaptation thing, but ultimately I now think, or I realize that no, it's they were certainly going to unpack this and just didn't get the chance to. The movie ends and you're like, okay, so what's the deal with, like, so they all had like spy glasses?
Yeah.
And so then they all had one, but like,
and like, how are they connected with the parents, and what's the deal here?
And what's the deal? And and what's interesting is, and not to, like, spoilers, whatever.
Oh.
You watch the first episode of the Netflix show.
Mm.
And the ending, like the button on the episode right before the credits roll.
Sure.
Is that the parents are alive, and that they're like
interesting.
Chained up in like some prison wagon thing, and they're talking about how, like, we have to get out, like, we got to get out of here, we got to, whatever. And so if you haven't read the books, and all you've ever seen, like me, all you've ever seen is the 2004 series of unfortunate events where, like, well, the kids, their parents are dead, they die in a fire.
Right.
You see this and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
The parents are alive?
Hmm.
Right? Like, there's a whole, there's so much that just, isn't touched on, doesn't get a chance to become a thing. And it's, I don't know. I think it's disappointing.
It is. I think so too. This is going to be short. I don't really have many flaws. I think if this movie, spoiler alert, I'm not going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. And the reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is, there's not a lot of things that are wrong that bring it down. It's just the things that are right don't elevate it to a 10. But I can't think of many things that go wrong. And that most of them, I think, are just related to, this taste in your mouth, because there's things that it's clearly setting up for. that we never see to fruition because, this is just chapter 1 or the film number 1, and we don't get to proceed. And so there's a lot of subplots. There's a lot of big picture things. There's a lot of character changes and development that, we don't get into, we don't get to see.
Yeah.
Just because this movie ends. And yeah, I think that would be my main thing. And, the fact that you're compressing 3 books into one, some of these characters get like just flashes in the pan as far as I almost said Scarlett Johansson, but Scarlett O'Hara, characters like
Catherine
that.
O'Hara?
What's that?
Catherine O'Hara?
Catherine O'Hara. Oh my gosh.
Like wrong on both counts. Like I don't.
Scarlett Johansson. Oh man! But regardless, Catherine O'Hara's character, because these 3 books are compressed into one film, you have these characters that have less development that they might otherwise have, and just because the film just ends, and that's as far as we go in this series. So that would be my only fault as well, of just things that aren't brought to fruition because this was just kind of never continued. And it was recently or decently a financial success at $211 million at the box office. So it didn't do nothing
for 2004.
For 2004.
Yeah, I think they were happy.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Yeah. So I don't know. So that's kind of. I think those are a lot of my feelings in a nutshell. What else? Cool. Do you have stuff that you're really wanting to hit on?
I've hit on everything. I'm about ready to score this puppy.
All right. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank the 2004 film Series of Unfortunate Events?
I gave it a 6. I'm wondering if I'm being a bit too critical.
Haters gonna hate.
I maybe should have gone a bit higher, but just it's not perfect. It is a little bit campy and a little bit silly. But at the end of the day, it's a kids' movie. So, I mean, it's a movie based on children's books. So at the end of the day, it's doing what it's supposed to. But regardless, there's nothing shameful with the 6 out of 10.
No.
I felt confident that it at least is a 6 out of 10, and that's what I landed on. So I gave it a 6 out of 10. What did you give it out of 10?
I give it a 7.5.
Okay.
It's right in that, great movie, right? Not past a 7.5, not into that 8 territory where you start going like, oh, okay, hang on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like something spectacular. But a lot of fun. And a movie that, if you, take having read the books out of it, take, whatever. Like if you're a diehard fan and you're like, well, I didn't quite, this is the portrayal of whoever compared to, no, take that out of it. And just the average film goer sitting down to watch this, if you were to say, no, I don't think it's very good, it's not for me, right? I would need a deeper explanation. I wouldn't just go, well, it's not for everyone. I think it's spectacular, and I think that anyone sitting down looking for something entertaining, something that will make them laugh, something that will pique their imagination, I think this is an excellent contender for just about everybody. 7.5.
Right on.
What did you watch this week, sir? And this is a hot to trot topic because I sent you 2 screenshots of 2 separate films, as I have many times in the past.
Yep.
And you were unsuccessful in guessing them.
And I wanted to know.
But almost got, you got a little, you were a little less patient than usual.
Tell me more. Tell me.
And I wouldn't. And maybe I'm way out to lunch, but in sending you those images, I was pretty sure that I was watching something that was like a Pete enjoyment film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and yeah. And I actually really, I feel like gave away, like, I gave you some big hints. So when it comes time for me to reveal what it is, I'm actually going to reread the messages I sent to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
see. We'll see.
Okay, what'd you watch?
I watched Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl from 2003.
You tell a lot about a person by the way they pronounce, whether it's Caribbean or Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, regardless of how I pronounced it, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Wow.
It's a
That seems low for POC.
It's one of those movies that was significant. It was a pop cultural hit.
Yeah.
I found it had its limitations when I watched it. It was so. There's some funny moments. There's some really kind of like, shrug your shoulders moments. It's still fun for what it is, but at most I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I continued on in the series.
You're harsh this week.
Well, it doesn't get much better. I skipped number 2 in that series because I just found it so dreadful.
Okay.
I skipped to number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End from 2007. I gave it a 3.5 out of 10.
Well, sure, because you skipped a film.
I read the synopsis of number 2, so I wouldn't be lost.
No, it doesn't matter. You're seeing all the payoffs for setup that you've skipped.
This series totally went off the rocker in that it was an iconic lightning in a bottle with the first one, and then they were just like, "Hey, let's make some more money and let's just keep on."
Second one's great. Third one's questionable. Second one's great.
They get so ridiculous. Like they ex machina everything. Where hey, it's a rainy day. We've got a pirate's curse that can solve that. Hey, I've got an ingrown toenail. Oh, here's some backlogged, secret potion that everyone seems to know about that no one thought about mentioning till it was convenient for the plot. Like, it gets so convoluted and silly. And the thing that I really have a problem with, I meant to just score and run, but you've got me going now. The amount of actual screen time that Orlando Bloom and what's the name? Keira Knightley have. Very limited, and the majority of it is in angst. Like, they're just like, it's like pre-teenage drama where they have misunderstandings, and as a result, they're not talking to each other, and they think someone is interested in the other, but they're really not. They still have true feelings for each other, but they think, like, it's just all this angst. And then when the movie ends and they have this payoff, and it just seems so hollow because it's like, you know what? The amount of emotional growth you two have had in these last 3 movies is the same emotional growth I had with, like, the gas pump attendee at the gas station last week when I said hi and he said hi. And that's about the same amount of emotional connection that I've... Anyway.
A question for you.
Yes.
When's the last time you yelled at some kids to get off your lawn?
Not recently enough, actually.
Because you're giving off those vibes, like, real strong.
Well, okay.
You're just like pissy old man Pete lives on the corner there.
I'm just saying, it's not a good movie. That's all I'm trying to say.
Don't go to his house on Halloween. He'll punch you.
Oh, man. I then watched Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales from 2017. I skipped the one.
So you skipped another one.
Stranger Tides, My Heavenly Father. I watched that in theaters in 2011, and in 2011 I thought it was garbage. So
Penelope Cruz, man.
I'm sure she's...
Yeah, but whatever.
I'm sure her parents are proud that she was in that, and that's about all. Anyway, Dead Men Tell No Tales. I gave it a 3 out of 10. It's just at that point in this series where it's you ask, why are we here? And I watched it.
Barbosa's got a kid.
I watched it and I said, what are we doing? I'm watching this truly just to complete a series, because if it was just on merit, I would have stopped watching a long time ago. So that in summary, I watched the Pirates series. And the last thing I've watched is I will consider watching it. I considered watching it.
Okay, listen. Your children are young, right? You're
Sure.
not coming home with like big hefty math assignment, like, high school level math assignments and stuff like that.
Right.
There will come a day
Sure.
where you will ask your child, your eldest, just because they'll come of that age first.
Mm-hmm.
Did you finish your homework? And they will say yes. And the truth of it will be that they finished their homework to the extent that you watched the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. and tell me, will you be satisfied?
The difference is, I had seen this series in full previously, so I had a head start. The last thing I watched was not Pirates related. I watched the 2003 film The Last Samurai with Timothy Cruise, and this movie holds up. Is it perfect? No. Is it starring Billy Connolly? It absolutely is. And I gave it a 7 out of 10. It really... It's one of those gems that I remember watching years ago. Someone said, circle back to it. It has it has more than you're willing to acknowledge, and it really does. Tom Cruise is good in it. I'm going to mispronounce this, but Ken Watanabe is in it. Billy Connolly. It's a good film, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's worth checking out if it's something that is up your alley if you read the description. But a 7 out of 10, and that is what I watched this week.
Okay.
What did you watch?
So I sent you a picture.
Sure.
Of what looked like an attic.
Sure.
And your guess was Beetlejuice.
Sure.
And I said, the old goat house, if you get my drift.
And I was like, nope.
And you said, nope, explain. And I said, nope. And then I sent you another image the next night or 2 nights later or something.
Yeah.
And I said, here we go again. And you said, if we play this game, you have to eventually follow through with what it is. And then I barked back and I said, dude, for 5 years now, that has only ever been revealed on the show. Now, the old goat house, which is where Amanda Seyfried
is that Mamma Mia?
hides Colin Firth, Stellan Skarsgård, and Pierce Brosnan away from Meryl Streep.
Oh!
Followed up by me sending you a picture of the sequel and then literally freaking saying, here we go again, which is the title of the sequel. And you were still sitting there going, home-de-dome-de-dome, I don't know.
To be clear,
I was so disappointed
I have
in
seen
you.
the sequel. I don't recognize it as much as I've
Oh,
only
yeah,
seen
but
it
doesn't
once.
matter.
It's
matter.
not worth my opinion. I'll let you talk, but Mamma Mia #1 is the thing you watch yearly. Mamma Mia 2, you watch it once, and then that's about enough. But I am
you still
shocked,
didn't get it.
and I'm impressed. That's wow. Okay,
You know who's not impressed? Me. You know with who? You. It's painful. That was painful. Very disappointed in you.
Yeah.
I finished. Remember?
Hold on. Did you like them though? Did you like them?
Okay. Yes. Like the first Mamma Mia is spectacular. I had a grin on my face and was like into it the whole time.
Good.
I think right up until the wedding.
Yeah.
And then I thought that, Meryl Streep's character marrying Pierce Brosnan's character, it just seemed like a little like that felt hokey to me.
Absolutely.
that just felt like a real quick, like, well, shame to waste a wedding. Like, let's, and it's like, okay, but there's a trope we've seen, like in Princess Diaries, friggin' Julie Andrews marries what's his face, Hector Azario or whatever his name is. And so that felt hokey to me. Having said that, although the sequel's not near as good, it goes a long way to undoing some of the hokiness of that wedding sequence. Because you're like, oh, okay, there's some real history here. My big gripe with the sequel is they shit all over the canon. They retcon the hell out of, because if you go back and you try to follow along with Donna's diary entry, you're like, wait a second, this is not, what is this, like an alternate universe? Because this is not how it went down.
Yeah, exactly.
Having said that, I think Lily James is great in the sequel. And what I will say is at no point did I ever doubt that Meryl and Amanda were mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Like that really, like it just seems like, yep, that's like that works. And at no point did I ever doubt or struggle to make a connection between the fact that Lily James was a young Donna. Like it felt, and same with her friends, right? Like it with Julie Waters, whatever her name, Mrs. Weasley, who plays the one, and then the other from the Jim Carrey's Grinch plays Martha May Whovier. Like they all in the sequel when there's a flashback and it's a younger version of them, or whatever, it's spot on. You're like, these were well cast. And same with like whoever played the young Harry. I'm like, dude, where did this guy just lock himself in a room for hours and watch nothing but Colin Firth films? Like it works, right? And then the other, like, and not that I'm like, oh, the film's just woke or whatever. No, I don't have any issue with it, except for, again, the reveal that Harry's gay felt really hokey. Like it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's like, well thought out story that we're putting time and effort into, and then bang, bang, and you're like, oh, well, okay. Like it just felt like it went off the rails. I had no problem with the idea of Harry's character being gay, but I would have rather seen that maybe revealed earlier, or some more hints at it, or it just flesh it out, right? Like develop that. And they didn't. It was just kind of played for laughs. And so to me, that was tacky. But no, really, 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 really loved it. It was great. And then we were watching, I can't remember whereabouts but Brianna and I were watching the X-Men films.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling you about that. We're done. Okay. So we watched them all, like up to and including Logan.
Okay.
So, and now we're watching Series of Unfortunate Events, the Netflix series.
You got to keep me posted on that, because I might be following suit, depending on what you say.
Yeah. I mean, so far, first episode, great.
Yeah.
First episode, great. Really interesting, right? Like, and again, I'm not able to watch it and go, ooh, this is much more accurate to the books. I don't have that. But I'm able to watch it and go, ooh, that's an interesting take on this. Or, oh, they're playing this differently. And that's interesting.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
But so far, despite the minor the minor setbacks of like, but hey, that's clearly not Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Right? Like that direct, unfair comparison, having just gone from watching the other. Despite that, it's great. So
Nice.
Yeah. Wrap it up, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. Let us know what you think in the comments, and check out our socials below: Facebook, Instagram, X. Check out our Patreon page, our merchandise page. Our Patreon page is a way for you to help us keep the lights on, help grow the show, And it's a ways for us to give you perks back. So whether it's bonus votes for voting episodes, whether it's content we've had in the last few weeks, we've had some bonus shows, some bonus content released on the Patreon channel. So check it out and consider joining if you feel so inclined. And until next time, where we talk movie news or monkey business or the next vote, just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Carl and I are launching our, now that we're done Echo. We're launching our, can't believe you haven't seen that. Can't believe I haven't seen this.
I'm knowing what you're going to make him watch. I am very interested to listen.
Well, so we did the ultimate way of determining who gets to make the other person watch something first. We did that. And he chose rock and I chose scissors. So he's going first.
Okay.
And so I can tell you that the first thing, a little spoiler, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
So ready.
We will be starting things off. Carl is going to have me watch, well, we're going to sit down and watch it together, but we will be reviewing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Kevin Costner, Alan Rickman film.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we'll be headed straight into horror after that, baby. Straight into horror. And Pete and I have tentative plans that will probably get canceled, and then I'll get angry. But we have tentative plans to launch our new series that we're working through, which is Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned.
Yeah.